Welcome to this tutorial on integrating OPC UA with SAP systems using OPC Router. This step-by-step guide walks through setting up communication between your industrial devices and SAP using both RFC and OPC UA technologies. To start this setup, we will configure the SAP connection. On the left-hand menu of OPC Router, navigate to Plugins. At the top, locate SAP Systems and double-click to create a new connection. For this tutorial, we're using a pre-configured SAP connection using the classic RFC protocol. While RFC is suitable, many modern use cases will benefit from using the newer NetWeaver RFC protocol for enhanced features. In SAP connection settings, enter your application server host, system number, and client number. Under Security, choose Basic Authentication and enter your username and password. Optionally, enable secure network communications for encrypted communication if configured in your SAP system. You can test this by clicking Test. Once the connection is established, that means we're good to go and you can select OK and we'll move to the next step. For step 2, we're going to configure our data source. For this tutorial, we're going to be using an OPC UA server connection. If you're interested in using a different data source, be sure to check out our other tutorial videos. First, we're going to navigate to OPC UA and create a new connection. As you can see, I am using KEP server in this tutorial, and I'm going to enter the UA endpoint. We will then put the username and password for logon, as well as choose our security level. We can then check the connection to confirm that communications are established. We will now make a new connection within OPC Router. If you're new to Router, connections are how we build out our data connections. First, we're going to navigate to the connection window, and for this use case, I'm going to create a new folder. This is how you can organize your different connections into their use case. Now, I will create a new connection within this folder. The naming for these fields are friendly, so you can name it whatever you want. Once the connection is created, this will open the window where we're able to do our configuration. Now that the connection is made, we can go ahead and configure our data transfers. First, we're going to start by adding in our OPC UA source. From the right-hand panel, drag in an OPC UA transfer object and drop it into the design area. We can double-click it to edit. For this use case, I'm going to choose my pre-configured OPC UA server and use the tag browser to select my production data. In this use case, it's product ID. Now that we have the tag we would like from our UA server, let's go ahead and drag on an SAP object. For this use case, we are going to use an SAP RFC call. Once again, we will double-click to configure. We are going to choose our SAP connection. We're going to filter and select the appropriate function group and function module. Under Parameters, we can configure our import parameters for sending the product ID, as well as export or return parameters for receiving response values like color number, error code, or messages. Once you have selected everything you would like, you can click OK and we can connect our UA to our SAP. As you can see, Router uses a visually drag and drop menu to make this simple. To handle the responses from SAP, we're going to add another UA transfer object into the design area. We're going to configure it with our server and use the tag browser to select the appropriate target fields. Connect each return value from the SAP function to the appropriate OPC tag. This ensures your shop floor equipment receives feedback from SAP in real time. With the flow of our data configured, we now want to control when the data transfer occurs. There are lots of triggers that OPC Router installs with, but for this purpose, we are going to use a message trigger. We will drag this object into the design, double-click to configure, and we are going to choose our OPC UA server. With the item field, we are going to select a trigger tag. For our example, it will be message ID, and this is going to initiate our transfer. We will configure a response tag that will confirm successful execution. You could add an error bit to indicate failure conditions. The message trigger uses handshake logic. The transfer starts when message ID does not equal answer ID, and once complete, the system writes the same value back to answer ID, so they are now equal. With OPC Router, it really can be as simple as that. Anytime you configure something new or make changes in OPC Router, you want to make those changes productive. We will start by clicking the Set Connection Productive button at the top of the screen. If any plugins were changed, you may be prompted to restart the OPC Router service. After a short wait, the connection should initialize, green indicates ready, and orange indicates waiting for a trigger. As the connection fires, we'll see these green dots. These show us every single time the connection was fired as well as how long it took to execute. You will see the live data transfers here, and you can also confirm them using a UA client. For this use case, I'm going to go ahead and pull over my OPC Quick Client and confirm that the values match what we're returning from SAP. If you have any questions or need further assistance, please be sure to utilize our support team. You can reach us Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Eastern at support@softwaretoolbox.com.